But now we're going to have a look straight off the bat and see how things plays out.
Yeah, so first of all, Kat's queued up her Shaman. It's got all the mind control techs, all the lightning storms, all of the AoE. She's probably quite favoured here, especially if she's keeping a lightning storm and a couple of fireflies in the opening. Westwith will probably want to, well, draw Keleseth.
Yeah, I was literally...
Step one.
Step one, draw Keleseth. Step two, step three, profit. Of course, yeah. He's definitely getting that straight away. And it's nice as well, because he's got a Flame Imp and Librarian for card draw, saving him from the old life tap shenanigans later. So
he can play this Flame Imp, play the Keleseth, and then draw a couple of cards that are buffed. It's pretty ideal for him, especially going first as well.
Yeah, pretty job done. I'm not going to lie. You know, this is I never expected the third match of the day, or you know, just in general, just to see someone pull that Keleseth straight off the bat in their Mulligan. And we'll have to see how Kat will actually deal with this. It's going to be a bit of a struggle, but as you can see, you know, she does have a couple of Fireflies to deal with some of the bits and pieces at the start. She does have the Lightning Storm. I'm not sure if she wants to try and go for that Spell Totem later to see if she can wing it a bit. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, just because one of those scenarios, really. But all we can say, Westwith's in a very good spot, but it all depends on what he draws next. And that chain gang was a very good start.
It's not bad for him. I like that he's been a little bit aggressive there as well. He didn't decide to trade with this Flame Imp. He put it to face. He said, look, my Keleseth will trade into this or something else at worst. I'm going to try and get as much damage through as quickly as I can. And I think that shows that he understands this matchup a bit better than, well, than someone who'd be playing it for the first time. He knows that Kat will have the AoE and the mind control techs and the long game in general that makes it so hard for him to get there if it goes that long. So instead he's not making trades he doesn't have to make, and he's shipping the damage where it needs to go and hoping for the best. Well, not hoping for the best, but hoping that he can stick something here for his Fungal Mancer that's coming up in a couple of turns. And
that's one thing to take into account as well with Kat. She does have the MC tech, so of course, you know, if Westwith gets a little bit carried away, you know, and a bit full of himself to try and get the job done ASAP, at least that way Kat does have an answer for it. And of course, like you mentioned before, it does have to Storm, and if it does get to that 5 mana, at least he can risk that 1 and 4 for the Spell Tome to see if he can maybe take out these chain gangs later. But even then, it's way too risky. We'll have to see how it pans out from there. But it looks like Kat will use that MC tech. Flame Imp, well, you know, kind of in the middle ground. At least didn't get Keleseth, but it would have preferred, of course, one of those chain gangs anyway.
Yeah, she's probably in a good enough position at the moment. It's looking like Westwith is able to push a lot of the damage here, and I would personally like to see him stick with that. I'd like to see him put all of this damage into face, you know, play this Fungal Mancer, go face. He's got a Soulfire as follow-up, and he'd require Kat to have a number of answers. A lot of answers, actually, and to AoE the board a bit. There's also this middle ground play where he can buff the chain gangs and put the damage in and present a board that's a lot harder to clear with a Lightning Storm or an AoE effect and an MC tech, as it were. So I actually really like that, and I don't know what Kat's outs are here. She can potentially bump, as you said earlier. She could go for the Lightning Storm play where she rolls the Spell Power Totem, but otherwise, it's not looking particularly great for her.
No, not at all now. And one thing I was... the last minute as well is like I was trying to move my AOC monitor straight without trying to break it, because I've broken a lot of things in my time, and I wouldn't be surprised if I somehow smashed this monitor like it was my day job pretty much. But nah, I managed to save it. See, it's all good, AOC, don't worry. Don't need to bring us another monitor.
Yeah, no, you can't see it, but he's just juggling screens behind the scenes.
Mate, I'm juggling like 3 24-inch monitors, like you just can't see. Like, you know, it's just one of those things. It's a shame.
So Westwith here is presented with one of those old turns where you can decide whether to start tapping for lethal or trying to find sort of more board presence. You know, playing your minions out and hoping that there's not a second AoE effect or an MC tech to take your best stuff. Personally, I like the card draw. I don't like the Despicable Dreadlord.
Yeah, but it's not saying. Yeah, sorry, you're gone. Carry on.
Well, it's just not very good into the rot face, is it?
No, not really.
And there you go. That's well, a 1 in
7, I think, if he gets that.
Oh,
no.
No!
I think that was literally a 1 in 6 chance of him actually doing that.
Yeah, 5 in 6 chance. Oh, yeah, 5 in 6. 5 in 6 chance of lethal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and that's. Oh, you just hate to see it, don't you? I'm not gonna lie. And that's happened twice at least once before. Yeah, oh yeah, I love to see like watching it, but having it to you, you know, it's gonna make you nod a bit.
I think this is interesting. Kat has traded first to get her random legendary, and now, although she wants to hex, she gives Westwith the hex back, which in combination with a Despicable Dreadlord later on is a removal for one of the big taunts that she was probably hoping to stick in order to stop Westwith from killing her. Although he's just drawn lethal.
Yeah, that was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just
pretty nice.
I think, okay, let's be honest. I think he kind of deserved that a little bit since there was a 1 in 6 that he could have actually got rid of that other Soulfire. I'm not gonna lie, it must have happened to you once before. Maybe not with Soulfire, but maybe with something else. Maybe if you use Doom Guard and then like maybe you had another Doom Guard for lethal. Then
happened to my opponent once actually.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. It doesn't happen to me. I'm great.
Oh yeah, you're obviously too good.
I always hit those. No, I like that game.
He doesn't really. Right.
You were juggling your monitor, but like it was a fantastic game where Westwith sort of understood that he needed to make sort of bigger, mid-rangier minions. He made them. He went face with them. He took trades with the smaller minions to play around the Lightning Storm and the MC Tech. And actually, I was very happy with that. I thought that was a very well-played game from him. And he took the win with relative ease as a result of it, where otherwise it could have been one of those tricky games where he didn't push enough damage early and then things got a bit out of hand. The rot face could have been a catastrophe for him. It wasn't. And Kat could have eventually gone Hagatha, Lich King, and closed the game out. So very, very good play. I like that. I like that a lot. It was a very well-played game.
No, it's different. No, because I'm glad you explained it, sorry, excuse me, towards the second half. It's just due to the fact that, like I said, I was juggling monitors. AOC ones, just a heads up, you know. So, yeah, it's just kind of one of those scenarios, really. But we'll just see how she pans out from there. Obviously, I just still want to see that quest rogue. You know, it's been a while. You know, fancy a bit of a change. See how it goes. But we will be going to St. Mulligan anyway to see if Kat can make some kind of comeback. And she's answered this like she knows my, you know, I want to see this deck and finally able to see how it goes. But it's like I mentioned before, you know, compared to the much older version to the newer version, I feel like there's a lot more variables, you know, there's a lot more opportunities to actually get that quest done at a very fast rate, which is nice to see. And definitely something which I'll be given a try in the future.
Yeah, she's got the matchup she wanted as well. She's not queued into aggro. She's queued into the slowest deck that Westwith brought. Yeah, I mean, Westwith has got a nice curve here, but that's fine. It's to be expected. People, you said this earlier, right? People get angry when they see a Keleseth. It's like a 30% chance to have Keleseth if you mulligan all your cards going second and a little bit less going first.
True.
It's not unlikely. It's not an incredibly unlikely event. So I don't think people should be that angry about it. Personally, I like to only get angry about things that had a 5% or less chance of happening. Yeah,
that's kind of what we saw earlier because, of course, with that 1 in 6, I think that's about 17.5, something like that. Like, that's just a rough estimate from the top of my head, but it's around that mark anyway in terms of percentage of actually losing the other Soulfire. But, of course, yeah, you know, the one problem he's going to have now is the fact that now he's used Keleseth at the start. He can put that Crypt Lord down, maybe try and build up as much as he can depending on what Kat's answer is. And of course, he can just build out that board as much as he can. But, you know, it's like we spoke about before with his quest rogue. It's the fact that compared to the much older versions, compared to now, you know, there's a lot more opportunity to get it done. There's a lot more ways to actually, you know, try and get the quest done as soon as possible. So at least that way, you have a great opportunity on winning for the rest of the game. But as you can see now, she has got those opportunities. And she's also got those 2 vanishes later on if things get a little bit out of hand on Westwith's side.
So I was about to say, I think one of the key cards for her will be Vanish. It will be not only buying herself time, but dealing with what is effectively just boards of minions that Westwith will put out that will be fairly expensive. So she'll be buying so much time every time she plays one. Having 2, very good for her, especially when her hand is looking a little bit dry. It's looking like it's going to be difficult for her to complete the quest as quickly as she wants. The other thing that's good about the Vanish is that it means that when she has completed the quest, she can start vanishing boards and hitting face with all of her 1-cost charge minions to kill Westwith fairly quickly. So I think that she might be in a good position here. I don't know if I like playing both Wax Elementals, because obviously you have to complete the quest.
Of course, yeah.
And she's not actually drawn any other minions. So what do you do in this position?
It's quite difficult. Yeah, no, sorry, I was going to say, no, you're absolutely right. And, you know, she's got the ingredients. It's just a matter of time for how she wants to do it. Of course, she can delay things. Obviously, she's got the Vanish as well.
Oh, she's...
to put the minions back anyway, but you've got to remember, if she does and that Kellis is still alive, you know, that's another +1/+1, isn't it?
Yeah, so she's gone for the prep vanish. She's played the wrong one. She's played the one that's created by Mimic Pod. So if Westwith was not tracking the hand as well as you may do one day, he wouldn't have known, or he wouldn't have recognised, but now he knows for sure there's another vanish to play around. That could, of course, be some sort of mind games. She's also made the decision that she wants to complete the quest on these wax elementals, which is maybe fair enough when you get a draw that's a bit sort of rubbish like this, where you don't draw any minions, it all goes a bit wrong, and things are a bit iffy for you. But this is a completion. This is her completing the quest and procking it on turn 5 to get 2 4/4 taunts with Divine Shield. It's pretty quick.
That is quick. It was very quick indeed, and you know, this is the issue as well, is the fact that, like I mentioned before, you know, there's so many more opportunities nowadays, and with his Gorgon as well, one way or another, if you didn't have those banishes, there's obviously some other possibilities.
Yeah.
But the only problem is the fact that, of course, she can get another 2 minions into her hands once she's played, so we'll have to see how she goes around with that. But you've got to remember, with Westwith's side, he does have a few openings, a few plays coming in, but one also thing you've got to remember is the fact that, you know, everything in his deck is now 2/2 on top of whatever's going to get drawn.
It is. Unfortunately, everything Cat plays is plus
4/4.
It's plus like 3/3 or something. It's going to be a race now for Westwith to try and clear the board, I suspect, and push enough damage face. I don't think he will find himself in a position where he can outvalue Cat and beat all of her 4/4s that she's going to play, because she's completed it so early. And she still, I mean, even if it goes that late, she still has the possibility of just playing a Valera and going infinite. You can play a minion, you can Zola the minion, Zola your Zola, and every turn you can just do that again and again. So you play 3 4/4s and you go infinite. So fatigue won't be an option for Westwith. He'll be looking as best as he can to see how he can, well, kill Cat, really.
Yeah, pretty much. No, you hit the nail on the head now, and it's going to ask a few questions on how he's actually going to do this. Now, it's nice that at least he's got a few taunts on the board to delay things a bit, just to at least give him some breathing space to try and decide exactly how he wants to do this. And as you can see, he's got a few options. He's still got that Chain Gang. He's still got the Spell Breaker, of course, just to put it back to its original place, depending on which minion come up on the board. And he's got the Fledgling as well for later on, for maybe if he gets the opportunity to get some decent ball control, he can use that to try and at least make it a bit more of an effort for Cat. But again, you've got to remember, on Cat's side, she's still got another vanish. So even if Westwith does get a little bit carried away, you've got to remember the fact that she's got an option to put everything back, and there's that possibility of making Westwith overdraw.
Yeah, there definitely is. And I like this from Cat. What she's doing is she's putting as many stats on the board as she possibly can, as quickly as she can, knowing that by doing this, Westwith cannot kill the 4/4. She obviously knows all the cards. She knows that there's no way that that Westwith can kill this 4/4. So therefore, when she does vanish, it just gives her more ways to mop up the board later on. It looks like she probably won't need to vanish, to be honest. It looks like she's about to just take a bunch of really good value trades and keep going. Play the Wax Elemental and the Elven Minstrel next turn, draw more minions. Eventually, she'll draw a giggling Inventor.
Yep.
Now, we probably haven't talked about Giggling Inventor yet.
Oh, I need a little bit here and there.
It's the card. It's the card. And she'll be looking to get it sooner rather than later, because it's just a phenomenal card. It's a board that's all in one. You've got your taunt, you've got your Divine Shields, and you get a great bounce target as well.
Everything you need, just all in one package, really, isn't it? You can't really complain about it. You know, we've had a bit of a chat about it before. Definitely some mixed opinions on it. Not from us, obviously, from people from Six Siege cards being released. But yeah, you're right. No, it's like you mentioned earlier. It's it's going to be those kind of cases where Westwith is just going to have to try and find some kind of answer. But it looks like he don't think we'll be able to that extent.
Yeah, he's looking like he's in dire straits. He'll be trying to find, again, an out. It probably involves some sort of very good randomness with this Grand Archivist, where he potentially plays it and he hits the Ultimate Infestation on one of these minions. Otherwise, I don't see much of a way out for him. I don't see that he's going to be able to find an answer by playing an MC Tech and stealing something.
Yeah, do you reckon it's got to the point now where you probably think Westwith could be delaying the inevitable?
He's delaying the inevitable. He knows there's a vanish as well, so so I guess he's trying to get it so that Cat struggles to clear the board and has to play the vanish so that he can potentially spam down a Salanite and maybe an MC Tech and swing it back in his favour. I don't know. All I know is that Cat's found lethal, and that's game over.
And that is, of course, GG. This is what I wanted to see. I just wanted to see exactly how much it's changed compared to before. And yeah, it's changed for the better, definitely, in that kind of opinion. And I can see why it's such a good deck now to play against those kind of matchups. But, you know, well played for Cat so far. Of course, it is 1-1. And one thing I'm going to bring up again from the start is the fact that, of course, both of them are going 0-2. If one of these do lose, they will go straight out of competition. And if they do win, then they're basically just staying alive for as long as they can.
For her as well.
Yeah,
that's the deck that we pinpointed as the deck that will probably get beaten really easily by the Paladin and the Warlock. That's the deck that she needed to pick up the win against Druid, and she has. She's probably feeling great about it now. Next up is her Druid or her Shaman. Well, I think they can get easier wins against the Paladin and against the Druid. For example, the Shaman can probably put out boards a bit quicker, can probably abuse the evolve mechanic in the deck to get a big fat minion that the Druid just can't deal with, because obviously, as we said, Westwith, he's playing Spiteful Druid. There's no minions, well, there's no spells there. He doesn't have the naturalize. He doesn't have an ability to just take out a big fat guy. He's going to have to do it with minions himself. So if he starts losing, he'll start losing. Yeah.
You're going to see it, basically. And you're going to see it in his face
so
as well.
He's got a Keleseth this time, which is pretty rare for him.
Is this the... Wait, this is the third time in a row we've seen him with a Keleseth in his mulligan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You couldn't make up, really, could you? See, why don't I get Keleseth right at the start of my turns? Like, you know, I'll probably get one every 20 games. He gets 3 in a row. Yeah.
This is under 5% territory. If Cat's angry... we can't see if Cat's angry, but if she's angry, she has a right to be.
To be fair, I think I would be straight off the bat. And it's obviously when you got Keleseth straight off the bat in the second game, didn't really help too much for obvious reasons. She got the quest done straight away. Yeah. But a third Keleseth, lovely.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Keleseth, can you?
No, not really.
Unless you're running 2 drops.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Cat here, as we said, will try and grip the board as hard as possible, as quickly as possible, because that's her win condition. Get control of the board. You don't even care about how much damage you do to your opponent. Get control of the board and push that advantage through the roof. Westwith has very few tools that can deal extra damage, you know, aside from his hero power to minions, or can really punish any value trading, because he just doesn't have spells. He doesn't have swipes. He doesn't have moonfires or naturalizes or the spell. All of that, none of it. So he can't punish you overextending. He can't punish you taking value trades. So that's how she's going to, you know, try and win this. And it's a good start. She can use her Thrall Deathseer next turn to upgrade this board and, well, get 2 5-drops and a 4-drop, and that nice. could be the start of something for her.
It could. And one thing you've got to remember as well is that Westwith, you know, he does have the MC Tech. Again, it's going to be completely pot luck, but with his Keleseth luck, you know, if that went into his MC Tech, you just don't really know what he's going to get, in all fairness. But, yeah, no, you're right. He's got a couple of options. There's an option where, you know, if he does get a trade of his Sprite, which he obviously will do straight away, at least that way he can get an Mana Crystal on the board, and we'll have to see how it progresses.
I think there was an option there to go Void Ripper.
Yeah.
To play the Void Ripper, to take some trades, and to prevent Cat snowballing a very early board advantage. So it's interesting that he decided not to do that. It might not work out for him. If Cat does play the Thrall Deathseer, I mean, she could get greedy. She could play, for example, the Giggling Inventor or the Fungal Mancer, which I'm not so hot on, because it plays into MC Tech amongst other things. Then she could have really got ahead here. She hasn't. She's chosen to buff the board and to get a bit greedier, turn that 5-drop into a random 7-drop instead, which is very likely to be better statted. And she's probably going to get punished for it, I'm afraid.
She absolutely will. Of course, it depends if he does want to go for the trade or just go for face, like you mentioned before. Not really too many reasons, only so much he can actually do. But yeah, I mentioned it earlier, it's the fact that if he had as much luck in his MC Tech as he will do with his Keleseths earlier, then He would have done it right. But yeah, taking the Tar Creeper, I'd probably say that's probably the best win you could have had compared to all the others by a mile.
So he could, or well, Cat could bump the Spell Power Totem into the Tar Creeper here, play her Corridor Creeper, and then play Thrall to get a random 9-drop and a random 7-drop. I like that. I like that play. Unfortunately, she's decided instead going to keep being greedy. She wants to stick a big board full of 5 and 7 cost board. Minions, and she wants to evolve it when it matters, when it's actually a big. Oh,
okay. So okay. Maybe a little bit earlier than expected.
Yeah. So she said, I don't want a 7-drop. I'd rather deny your Tar Creeper. Interesting. I personally disagree, but maybe she has better knowledge of the matchup. Maybe that's the line that she's taking. She's saying, I just want to remove everything to play around potential like a Fungalmancer or something, and then kill you later. No,
yeah, it's understandable, but even with that Hadronox as well, he needs to try and get that Lich King on a board, and also the Giggling Inventor as well. But one thing I'll take into account is the fact that with Westwith, it does have that Fungalmancer, yes, that Leroy for later, depending on the circumstances, and does have that infestation with card draws. So I don't think so far he's not too bad of a spot, and at any time he could use that Void Ripper as well.
Yeah, he can make a nice couple of trades here. He can wait to see what Cat goes for with the hero power. Like, she could evolve the 3/7 into a 10-drop, and that could be okay for him. So he might want to dodge that and just go face and save himself from having to make a couple of trades here. But I prefer this. I like him clearing the board, taking board control, identifying that he wins by denying Cat board, which is what he's doing.
Yeah, he's just basically playing how the game should be played so far in this, especially in this matchup. But you know, with his chain gangs, it would be a little bit more of a pain, and it's good that she's trying to at least delay things as much as possible. Of course, with the chain gangs, each one will class as 4 mana, so it makes the hero power a lot more effective, you could say. And even if it was a good minion one way, shape or form, at least that Spellbreaker would have been able to not do too much with it. It depends exactly what had been upgraded, but it's nice to have as a little backup. So now he can go through it, but I assume he will save that Spellbreaker for another time.
See, even that turn, I'm not particularly sort of thrilled by it. I was thinking that potentially Cat would want to just play a Giggling Inventor and change her 5-drop into a 6-drop. That seems to me that it probably puts more stats on the board on average. So I'm not over the moon with that as a play either. I think that she might have played a little bit inefficiently, and as a result, put herself in a position that's a little bit worse than she could have been in. Fortunately, she's still going to take the board quite hard here. Oh. Well.
It gets to Hagger for out anyway.
Well, I thought that what she would do is she'd play the Giggling Inventor this turn, then evolve the 5-drop into a 6-drop, take the value trade, and start actually dominating board. She's saying no, she's gone for a different line. Her line is to clear the board every turn instead of developing and having better threats and better minions and taking value trades, which is what sort of Druid is weak to. And she wants to just outlast it all. She wants to get as many spells from the Haggatha as possible, get as much value out of it as possible, and try and outlast Westwith, make him sort of run out of cards. Which is a bold strategy. It's a very controlling strategy.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how she actually copes with this, of course. At least Westwith now gets a little bit more card drawings. One thing I noticed straight away is the fact that at least he's got that Crypt Lord to try and keep his other minions alive. But again, look at Cat now. She's got a Giggling Inventor. She's got the Storm for a stanchion when he gets the chance to use that. But she has a Hex to kind of cover herself as well, and we'll have to see what she gets out of that far sight. But, you know, she's left that Lich King for a while now. I don't think she's really had a good opportunity to kind of use it, really. I think she's not really had much of an option to try and decide when would be the best case to use it. Of course, it matters of when we'll see what happens at the end of the turn. But, you know, gets her own KLSF. Bit late, but
yeah.
Obviously not as soon as Westwith the last 3 times.
It's a symptom of her choosing to clear the board fully or clear minions fully instead of developing minions that are better than Westwith's minions. And that's why she's been unable to have the time to play the Lich King to abuse the Thrall hero power as much as I think she probably could have. And it's why she finds herself in a bit of a tricky spot here.
Yes, a bit of spot of bother. She does have that Fell Spirit anyway, so at least she can get a couple more taunts on the board, but Again,
slipping away.
It's only, yeah, exactly. Yeah, she just delaying the inevitable, or she's just going to be able to actually find some answers. Does get another hex, but there's so many decent minions on this board now. She's still going to be a little bit of a pain, but I suppose if she does get rid of those Divine Shields and use the Storm, I assume she will, and she'll at least clear the board and only have one left standing.
Yeah, she will. But it just gives Westwith the initiative straight away again. He gets to play a 1-drop, he gets to play his Malfurion, and he gets to get his hero power rolling to make some 1-5 taunts. It's looking very good for him. It's looking very good for him. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen with this Hagatha. Any old number of spells could come out, and that's what Kat's game plan is, to get these spells, to hopefully use them to leverage the game in her favour, take it long, run Westwith out of resources. He'll obviously have drawn a load more cards because he's playing 2 Ultimate Infestations. I just don't know if that's going to work for her, unfortunately, this game, because, as you see, every single turn it slips further and further away from her, where the cards that she wants to play are sort of sat in hand, they're a bit awkward. She's not been able to control the board as much as she wanted. She had opportunities to, but she took a different line. And this time it hasn't worked out. Not to say it wouldn't work out every time.
Yeah, no, she's been in this a very similar scenario before. That's with her old Shadow Walk deck. And the one thing she made to survive is the fact that she made Hagatha last so long, and there was so many different opportunities she could have had with certain comebacks. Like, for example, like the only reason why she didn't win the last time against Paradox was the fact that not only did she run out of minions, it's the fact that she did actually have Bloodlust from one of the spells, and she couldn't actually make that comeback because obviously, you know, you're not going to use it without any minions on the board, which is a bit of a shame. But, you know, I'm kind of getting a few flashbacks here. It's making me realise now, what can you do? And of course, with that Void Ripper now.
That's a nice Void Ripper.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
That's a tech card working.
Not the Blood Knight.
Not the Blood Knight. Maybe it's not by design, but that's a tech card doing what a tech card should do. That's what we like
it's meant to do its damn job. But no, it might as well do it anyway. Down to 17 HP, and slowly this game is just
slipping away.
Yeah,
it's just slipping away, and it's a genuine shame. I think that the out here is to play the Feral Spirits and the Stormbringer. She's been very lucky, or not very lucky, she's been fortunate enough to get that from the Hagatha hero power, which again was part of her game plan. She wanted to get the Hagatha down early and get as many spells and try and use them, leverage them, which is what her hand mostly is at this point. And she's just looking for a legendary, or a couple of legendaries that just really help her out here. I can think of a few. For example, Alakir would help her out. If she gets that, she can take a couple of trades and start to win the board back. There is probably some big minions as well that just raw stats. I keep saying it, but big fan of raw stats. It's fine, you're a stat man. We've established this, and it's only game 3. Yeah,
we've noticed that now. It's all right, you know. I've come to realise, you know, and when it comes to percentages, I just won't ask you. But when it comes to like being a stat man, I'll ask you anyway. That makes no sense really, because you should be, you know, the biggest mathematician on the planet if you're that much of a stat man.
No, I'm just about health and attack.
And face, health, attack, and face.
Health,
That's literally
attack, and face.
You are the sort of guy where, you know, you've got some of them where they've bought like 2 zoos. No, sorry, 2 zoos. What am I talking about? Sorry, 2 odds, a zoo, and a token. You'll be that guy.
Sort of what I did last week.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, what a coincidence. One thing I want to point out as well is the fact that Westwith did have that Spellbreaker earlier and just used it just to basically just chuck something on the board. Yeah. And I think he's going to kind of wish he didn't do that now.
He might.
With that Tyrion.
I don't know how often you want to play around Tyrion from a Paladin.
That's true.
From a Paladin?
From a Shaman.
From a Paladin, you probably want to play around Tyrion.
That's true, that's true. But
I don't know how often you want to play around the old Shaman Tyrion. So I don't think it's too much of a shame. In fact, he's killed the Tyrion. He's frozen Hagatha anyway. She can't attack, so
pretty much a done deal. Yeah, no, it's working out perfectly fine with him. Of course, if we have a look here, we've got 369 and Leroy. That is 15, so it's got to find 2 more just to find that answer. He is getting close, and it's just a matter of what she can do. Not really too much. That weapon, absolutely useless this game. Has the MC tech, can take some of it away. Not too much of a loss, but takes one thing further, and of course with that, Lightning Bolt can take another thing down and has the Hex as a backup, but it depends how desperate she is. She gets another MC tech. Another one, but it looks like she will literally just be taking out one anyway. I'm not too sure, maybe she used that bolt just before the MC tech, so maybe she made that play already a bit too quickly. So that could have been why she didn't play the MC tech again.
This is lethal, by the way. This is our first time of the tournament where it's a tricky lethal, which is what I like, where you have to play the Leroy, hit face with the 3-1, then you play the Void Ripper, a good tech card, or a tech card, to change your 1-2 to a 2-1 and your 2-3 to 3 attack, hit face with those, hit face with the hero power. So I'm hoping he sees it. He hasn't. He hasn't. It's one of those.
That's 2 people you've thrown under the bus today.
I'm sure he might be about to find it. He could be finding the lethal. He's searching. He's thinking. He's thinking about Void Ripper and the interaction it has in the game. He's really considering it. I believe him. I believe in Westwith. I think he'll find lethal here.
So 3, 6, 9, 11. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I was just double checking. Just
oh,
sure.
He's played it in the wrong order.
It was meant to use the Void Ripper first and then do it, but it looks like Cat quit anyway. Obviously, if you guys noticed, he had to use the Void Ripper, which was already on the board to start with, damage, and then use the Void Ripper afterwards, and then use everything else, then the hero power, and it would have been exactly 11 damage, and it would have been lethal. But it looked like from that stage...
anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And it's like, I was watching that, and the cat was just like, oh, just have it. You know, I've had enough. Yeah.
You did it wrong.
but we'll let you have it anyway. Maybe she felt sorry for him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to waste my time with this game anymore.
Yeah, bless you. We know your maskers ain't great, but I know what you were thinking, what you were planning. We'll let you have that one anyway. But of course, now
I hope Twitch chat found that lethal as well, because they're always saying it's lethal, aren't they? Come on, easy one, that.
Yeah, you know, a lot of these players, obviously from the Prem, will be watching it as well. Hello. And, you know, I think they're just going to shout it and call it anyway. So, you know, Twitch chat, they're not stupid people. They're not stupid. They will realise this stuff. And I think now, when we get to this stage, there's only one deck left for Westwith to the Cat to deal with. It is, yeah. So this could be the turning point now to see exactly how it goes. So, of course, Westwith will be going again with that odd pally.
Ooh.
And Cat back with the Druid again. And I think, if I remember rightly, this was her Mali Druid, I think.
It is her Mali Druid, where she's not playing... So earlier we saw Duncan. He was playing Starfall. So you cut a Ferocious Howl, you play a Starfall. Cat has cut a Ferocious Howl, and she's playing a Dream Petal Florist. So it's a little bit less anti-aggro. And she just hasn't got the board clear, but has instead got a card that helps her get a combo together quite quickly. But it's Druid. She has Spreading Plague still. She has Spellstone and Fire and the Death Knight, and she has all these fantastic cards. So, on paper, a very favoured matchup still for her, despite the fact that she's only running 2 fantastic AoE effects instead of 3.
Yeah, this is the problem now, of course. At least she does have Wild Growth to get the ball rolling. Well, and I literally just took the words right out of my mouth, and I was going to say, and if you have a narrow shot, it'd be even more fantastic. So, you know, you couldn't ask for a better start, like I said, about the favouritism in this matchup. Yeah. But one thing you've got to take into account now with Westwith, it does have some nice answers on the board. It does have that raid leader if she doesn't have enough, like, for example, like, this is where you're going to wonder where, if she will go straight for that nourish, I reckon she probably will. But even if she does, at least that way she'll get that plague down later. But yeah, this is the question. This is a question we're going to ask, is the fact that how soon will we see that raid leader? How soon will we see that ball control, and how quickly can she capitalise on that? But the main thing is the fact that will Westwith play that game before in the previous matchup where he wants to try and bait the plague, or was he just going to go straight in like you do? Because I know what you're like. You just like to go straight in, don't you?
Yeah, I sort of like going all in. Westwith, on his camera, this is quite interesting. He's pulled a face like a, what are you doing? You're not drawing cards? And he should be able to go away from that and say, why isn't she drawing cards? It's because she's got Nourish into Spreading Plague. She doesn't need to draw cards. She just needs to ramp and play this Plague. So hopefully he's clocked that. Hopefully he's able to work that out. And in this scenario, it might be better to play around the Plague. I don't think he will. I think he's going to go all in, hero power here, play both Fireflies, just make them have it, which, again, you can't really fault him for doing so. It's a nice little play.
And he's still got a game in hand anyway, so even if he does loses this, it does go to a game 5. And one thing to shout as well is the fact that I reckon if this was a game 5, I'm not sure if he would take that risk. Maybe he would maybe play a little bit slower, like you said, like actually try and bait out the Plague instead. But it seems like now he does fancy just trying to go heads on, just no mucking around. But this is a decent play turn here, especially for
nice
Cat.
Because he's given his minions Divine Shield. I didn't pick this up at first, but he's playing 2 Void Rippers in this deck as well. which means that he's playing for the, if she has Plague, I have a Void Ripper play. So he's been unfortunate not to draw it there. Well, not unfortunate, it's not likely, but that's what he was going for. He'd already decided his board was too wide. He'd already decided that he wasn't going to beat the Plague. He was hoping to get a Void Ripper, which he hasn't got. Sometimes you don't get it.
Well, he's had enough luck today, hasn't he? To an extent, you know.
He's only drawn 3 Keller sets. Can you give a man a break?
Yeah. Yeah, come on, man. That's not enough luck, is it?
Only 3?
He's been really unlucky for the first 3 games to that extent and still lost the second one. But to be fair, Cat had such a good run with that Quest Rogue, getting it done ASAP with those 2 vanishes, the 2 preparations, the Shadow Step. Yeah, you know, she was alright in that kind of circumstance.
Yeah,
but
she had some cards.
Yeah, she had some decent ways to make Westwith's life, a bit hellish. So understandable. But look at this now. You've got to take into account that Cat still has that Alexstrasza, has that Lich King, and even you know what? He can even use the Infestation just to get that 5 armor, 5 on the board, get some card draw. But now it's going to be quite a big question now because, of course, the Plague will hold him back a little bit, but we don't know how long for, of course.
What do you do if you're Cat? Do you draw with Nourish? Probably not. I think you want to slam down the Malagos. You slam down the Malagos and you say, deal with this. And next turn you can also threaten to Nourish into a swipe or, well, just about anything, actually. You can, you can really put some pressure on Westwith if you slam down the Malagos here. There's also a play where you play down a Lich King. It's a bit safer. It's got Taunt. All the minions probably end up crashing into it and it clears the board. Or the Alexstrasza where you say, I want to be a bit aggressive. But personally, big fan of playing Malagos here. Love it.
You know what? You said it right as well. You called it as well. I was thinking to myself, well, okay, maybe, but you know, yeah, okay, I'll listen to you next time. Like, don't complain at me. It's
yeah, but
fine.
look at the reaction from Westwith. He's popped his eyes and blown his cheeks.
It's like, what?
You shouldn't make plays just because they're correct. You should make them just because they make your opponent scared.
It makes you think as well. It's like, what could she have? Like, what is in that hand? And of course, he'd love to know, but it's going to be one of those situations now. He's got to really try and decide exactly how he's going to come out of this. And
he's like, well, he's doing the smart thing. He's decided that it's impossible to deal with this Malagos. Hope she doesn't have it.
Yeah, literally, it's one of those situations where he literally will just have to take another risk. And now with that Vine Cleaver now, it will keep that momentum on board at all times. But even if you have a look at this, like, you know, he's got 2 Lost in the Jungles, he's got the Vine Cleaver as well. So at any stage, as soon as that level up comes down, he's going to throw it down straight away as soon as that next turn and get at least... Yeah, he's going to get all 7 of them all to 3-3.
Yeah, and the thing I like the most about that Malagos play from Cat, actually, is that it preempts those cards you were just talking about, the Level Up, the Fungalmancer, and gives her this out, which she hit, which is fantastic. I like to see I like to see stuff like this rewarded. It's great to see. So she plays the out, she hits the out, everyone's happy, right? It's rewarded for great play. And I respect that, and it's probably then going to go to a game 2.
Yeah, no, it seems like she might be taking us to a game 5, and
oh yeah, game 5.
It's like we could go to game 2 again if you want.
Again.
But I don't think Cat would be happy because I think that was the game she won. She won actually with that Quest.
So she should find this lethal, by the way. This is an easy one. This is
done.
2-card lethal. In fact, the other one was a 2-card lethal as well.
It was actually, yeah, you're right, spot on. And of course, Cat's not all out of it yet. We was a little bit worried to begin with, but Westwith, sadly for him, didn't manage to take it. Cat will take that game 4. And now the first game 5 in a while actually, because I think even last week it was just all clean sweeps and 3-1s here, there, and
it's 1-3
everywhere.
Last week, I think.
Oh, was it 1? Was it? Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't check that properly enough. But
someone really good lost, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And to that extent now, it's fair. But yeah, finally we'll see a game 5. And this is where we'll talk about pressure in terms of like the elimination and how things are going to go. But they're going to really feel this pressure now. This is like their last, not just their last chance, but it could be their final game of the season.
This is it. This is the, gosh, I don't want to end up like Cold Hands game. This is...
Don't want to be in right now.
Don't want to be like Cold Hands.
It would. No. Not me, but... But this is where it's going to be quite interesting to the fact that, of course, it'll be Westwith's Odd Pally again. Odd Pally's not really been working out for some people today.
No,
some people have been working out really well, but today it's just been a knockoff.
Yeah, you play your Druid and your Zoo, and suddenly, what's your Paladin beating?
Not much. Like you would have this, like I said before, it's a hit and miss, but it's not just been a miss, it's been a massive write-off, and it's a shame really, because it is a very strong deck, but in this kind of matchup so far there's not really been too much going on in terms of like actually being able to make any kind of use of it. But so of course we will see that lovely odd pally again, with that lovely Blood Knight to start with.
A lovely Blood Knight. A rapid mulligan from Cat as well. She kept the mind control tech, she kept the Lightning Storm and was like, none of this. I'm not interested, I'm playing for my survival here. I want the cards that are good. And Keleseth. But you're not always fortunate enough to get the Keleseth.
Yeah, getting it 5 times on the trot is kind of taking a mickey a little bit in it. But no, like you said about Cat, she did a mulligan straight away to MC Tex to kind of like, you know, keep him in check a little bit, saying, mate, you know, chill out a bit, you know, don't want you to go too overboard with the aggression. Of course, got the Lightning Storm to cover that as well. And she just got to make sure that doesn't have any minions too high in terms of the health department, and of course the Divine Shields as well. So, you know, she has the perfect answers, but again, it depends how long she can actually stay alive and try and delay Westwith from getting a bit too carried away.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those games where the Hagatha will seal it as well. Or
yeah,
possibly. Like you get your 3 damage AoE, it clears a level up board, and then you just kill them with spells. You have infinite, well, not infinite spells, but you have so many spells, it's near infinite. You just kill them with them, or control the board so much that you have one sort of mid-range minion that sticks and hits them a couple of times and kills them. What was interesting is, I think Westwith kept the Blood Knight here, because he knows it's the week of the Blood Knight. This is its time to shine. If it's never going to shine.
I think it did shine earlier, but that was when both of them actually had their Blood Knights and actually made some kind of use of it. And finally, out of all these games, Cat gets her first Keleseth early. Obviously, she did have it 1 point before, but it was way too late in the game. We didn't really make too much use, And now you've got a question, because Westwith does have that 6/6 on the board, and what makes it even worse for him is that he gets a bit of use out of it, but Cat has that Hex.
Yeah, she has the Hex. I'm not actually sure the Blood Knight was very good.
No.
It's a 3 mana 6/6. That's good, but it removes your own Divine Shield. It basically kills one of your own minions. It sort of makes your Blood Knight a bit like, this is a bit of a weird analogy, a bit like a Ravenous Pterodax. Are you familiar with the card? It's the Warlock card that kills one of your own minions and gets 2 adapts. It's sort of like that. You weaken your own minions, but you get a beefier statted minion for it.
I don't know if I'm being thick now, because I feel like I should
give it away.
That. Oh no! I didn't, because obviously the Hex there was the option. I looked and thought, okay, will she actually risk using MC Tech? Like, you know, is that a possibility? But I thought, nah, surely not. But what a great risk to have. Yeah, I respect it.
I like
definitely.
This a lot. She's angry, she's not taking prisoners, she's mulliganing fast, she's like, I am going to win this game, and I'm going to win it with just randomness. She did.
It's nice, spot on, and it just makes me wonder, but of course with that, to be with Hex, it's one of those cards, especially against Odd Pally, it's not really too used. I wouldn't say it's like a useless card in that retrospect, because it's not really high mana minions, but I thought that was to play. Literally against that Blood Knight, this is the time to use Hex. And the fact that she MC Tech that's actually grabbed that, like, that's a ballsy play in itself. And even though, Westwith found an answer for it, that's when his Void Whip has gone straight away. Yeah,
and she's now got a win condition, like a real win condition here, which is to go next turn to use these unstable evolutions to just get 2 enormous overstatted minions on the board, hitting face or maybe not hitting face. I think you want to control the board, but to just get such a lead in stats on the board that you just win. So
I knew you were going to say
it. I'd love to see her do it here. It could be very likely that she pulls out a Lightning Storm and consolidates her board presence, especially if, well, as we're seeing, Westwith goes for sort of playing as much as possible. I'd like to see the unstable evolution too. I'd like to see her get 2. She can get 2 8-drops. She can upgrade her 3/6 to an 8-drop, and then she can coin and play unstable evolution 3 times on the 5-drop too, if it's not a good 6-drop for her. And I like this. I really rate this. 2 8-drop.
Oh, okay, maybe a little bit smaller from the stats. That's compared to what we used to before. But yeah, a nice little Void Lord, with a few Void Walkers in it, just to keep the odd Pally at bay. Yeah, that's not... Oh, I know what Westwith just said then. I'm not going to repeat it, but he knows it is an extreme really bad spot now. And, you know, not only is she in a fantastic spot for that Void Lord now, you know, even with Divine Cleaver, yeah, sure, fair enough, may get into a bit more tempo, but what can you do? Like, even with the raid leader as well, it's not going to do too much afterwards because you could just easily just trade that off. So we could be looking at an answer for Kat where she could actually take this game 5.
Yeah, I think it's looking quite likely. I think Westwith can Vine Cleaver if he wants, but Kat's just going to take a couple of value trades. And even if he fills up the board, she's got the MC Tech in hand. And if he goes for one big minion, she's got the Hex. So
she's got basically all the cards on the trade. She's got the ingredients. It's just literally a matter of time now. And she's got a Fungal, man. So you might as well put it on the Void Lord for a laugh now.
Yeah, put it on whatever you want.
Yeah, why not?
I think you want to put it on your minions and keep them alive. Take your value trades. Just go for it. Just take as much board as you can and just kill him. Like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do?
Yeah, she can literally just save at a time now. Of course, as everyone knows with Volt Palette, very simple deck. Doesn't have any AoEs, anything like that to try and counteract this. And it's just going to get to a point now where Kat can just get carried away. Oh. As you can see, get that Fungal Mancer down. And I think it's just a matter of time until Westwith taps out.
It's just a matter of time. He might milk it. I'd like him to milk it. He's actually, when he's not playing Hearthstone, quite a talented artist. He genuinely goes to the side of roads and collects like scrap metal and makes metal sculptures. So maybe he can go back to that after he's out of the Premiership this season.
Well, by the look of things, he'll be drawing 0 and 3 because that is going to be his stat line going after this game anyway. And it's just got to that point now where, you know, he's trying to savour the moment. He's thinking, you know what? I've done all right. I've done my best, but, you know, just get some time on stream to see what I can think about.
Start writing notes down. That's what I do. You know, you get your speech bubble that comes with the free Blizzard pack when you go to the Tavern Brawl, and you start writing things down. As long as they're not offensive, or if they're in Cypriot, it's probably all right.
Yeah,
because no one can read Cypriot. And then
well, I don't speak any Greek.
And then, yeah, milk your time, enjoy the game. Unfortunately, it's looking like Westwith is going to be relegated to the same tier as Cold Hands and will be leaving the tournament.
Yeah, I was going to say, he didn't actually have lethal then until he actually had that bolt. It was actually one off lethal, but, you know, Shimasa takes it anyway, takes that game up to the scratch, 3-2 in the series, and yeah, nice little comeback from when she was down 1-2, but that Shadow Walk, you know, it's not really been... It's kind of been kind of like a Nemesis deck where you could tell from a lot of the plays she's made with that deck in the past, she's been doing really well, just not really had, you know, the card draws, the RNG and all that bits and pieces. But this time round, she's used it to its potential, but this game, it's been more in her favour. She had the early Kelly Seth, that Void Lord, yeah, that probably didn't help in all fairness.
Well, I like to play that game. I commended Westwith for his play in one of the earlier games. I liked what she did there. So in one of the games before, she lost with the Shaman because she wasn't sort of willing to evolve some of the minions, and she went for the Hagatha sort of grind them out plan, which didn't work. In this game, she was very keen very early to just make her 5-drop bigger, make her 9-drop bigger, or well, make her 7-drop into a 9-drop, and consolidate board as fast as possible. And I like that. That was some well played Hearthstone, I think.
Yeah.